I will call the February 13, 2025 meeting of the Elkhart City Board of Zoning Appeals order. And Mr. Trotter.
Thank you very much. Mr. Newbill is our member this evening from the board, from the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission has an appointment on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and Mr. Newbill, along with 3 other members, will be rotating through to fill the 5th position on the Board of Zoning Appeals for the remainder of 2025.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Newbill, for stepping up and joining this merry group up here. Yeah. It's a good group. We know.
I met 2 cute people prior to you guys. So
Careful there.
And I've known Mr. Newbill for a number of years, so yeah. We're glad you're here. All right, first item of business. Actually, we'll call the roll call, the attendance vote.
Newbill.
Here.
Von Jurikoff.
Here.
Leichman.
Here.
Davis. Here. Mulvaney.
Here. All right. First item of business, which was deferred from last year, is the election of the 2025 officers for the Board of Zoning of Appeals. I am stepping down as president. I'm going to be transitioning over to the Historic Commission, so I am going to be leaving after a number of years. I've been very happy to serve on the board. It's been a great experience. It's time to pass it off. So do I hear a nomination for president?
I would like to nominate Janet. And I don't want to attempt to say a last name because I'll ruin it.
Possible.
Is there a second? A second. Seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Janet, well. Do I hear a nomination for vice president?
I would like to nominate Faylene for vice president.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And lastly, nomination for board secretary.
Oh, I would like to nominate Ron Davis for secretary.
Is there a second? Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. I will now gladly turn over the presidency and the head to. Thank you.
Yes.
I have to learn how to my cheek. There you go. Switch the.
Look at that attention to detail.
Oh, you take your hat too.
Take my hat. The hat goes.
So first of all, I think that we should get a round of applause to a wonderful job by Mr. Mulvaney.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Hard shoes to follow in. So first of all, I would also like to welcome you to the February 13th, 2025 meeting of the Elkhart City Board of Zoning Appeals. Video cameras will only be taken on WebEx. You cannot comment on Facebook. You can watch only. If you are on video, please mute your mic when not speaking. Also, you will need to speak up and identify yourself before you begin to speak so the secretary can get your name in the minutes. The purpose of this meeting is to review and consider all requests for relief from any standard in the zoning ordinance, including variances, use variances, special exceptions, conditional use requests, and administrative appeals. All of the cases heard tonight will have a positive, negative, or no decision made by the board. If no decision is made, the petition will be set for another hearing. If a decision is made that you disagree with, either as a petitioner or an interested party, you must file for an appeal of the board's decision no later than 30 days after the decision is made in an appropriate court. If you think you may potentially want to appeal a decision of this board, You must give this board a written appearance before the hearing. If you are here in person, a sign-in sheet is provided which will act as an appearance. You should sign the sheet if you want to speak, but also if you do not wish to speak but might want to appeal our decision. If you are appearing by WebEx or Facebook, please put your name and address in the comments section. A written appeal that is set for hearing tonight satisfies that requirement for the petitioner. If you file your appeal later than 30 days after the decision of this board or give no written appearance tonight, you may not appeal the board's decision. Because the rules on appeal are statutory and specific on what you can do, the board highly suggests you seek legal advice. If you are a petitioner, in addition to filing an appeal, you may first file a motion for rehearing within 14 days of the board's decision. When speaking, petitioner, public, and board members, make sure you hold the microphone when you speak. Make sure that you get your face right at the microphone and it will move for you. I don't have to read any of that, right? That's just the first time I'm going to do that tonight. With respect to the public comment portion of the meeting, public comments will be taken only on specific petition being heard before the board. Unlike city council meetings where there is a time for anyone to comment on any issue, we do not have that at the BZA, and comments will only be taken for or against the petition before the board. What we are going to do now is approve the agenda for tonight. Do I have?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Now we're going to approve the minutes of the December 12th meeting, which you have received earlier. All those in, sorry. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? And finally, approval of proof of publication.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Right. So for tonight, our old business has been tabled, and our first new business is 25 UV02.
Good evening. The petitioner is, and I apologize, La Voz de Cristo Almundo Incorporated. The request is to vary from section 18.2 permitted uses in the M1 limited manufacturing district to allow for a place of worship.
I'd like to now call the petitioner forward. And if you could make sure you sign, have you signed with your name and address?
Yes.
Great, okay.
My name is Raymond Enfield. Up until last December, I was a registered architect here in Elkhart for 58 or so years. I've been retained to work with the church to redesign this building, the interior primarily, but some exterior. And I'm working with Kevin Finn, a registered civil engineer in town that will have the legal liability for the work, and he'll do structural work and that. And I also have a mechanical electrical engineer to provide those services. Pastor Luis Velasquez, I didn't study Spanish, I'm sorry, is here if you have any questions of him. This building is on West Indiana Avenue. There's should be a aerial photo in your packet. If you don't recognize it, I can point it out. But it has been empty for many years. I don't know how long, but many years. Other than the structure, the inside, the mechanical, electrical, and those kind of things are all going to need to be redone. The interior lends itself fairly well for the church's use. There will be some interior redesign, and I'll do some things on the exterior. I haven't studied that yet. I have studied the interior, and we're working with the client to make sure we're in agreement on the best possible layout. I've documented the building. I've measured it almost totally, and I've got 5 different sheets of drawings documenting the existing structure for us to proceed with the work. If I need to address some of the zoning issues, as you well know, churches have no zoning classification of their own. So no matter where they're built in the city, they need to come before you for either a variance or a special exception. And this building is, as it is an attractive nuisance. It's open to anybody that wants to enter it. Very honestly, I was reluctant to go in there alone. I've been in it many times, and there's no evidence of anybody staying in it, at least very long. But we think that having it renovated and in use will be an asset to the city. We have a couple issues to work out, one of which is the parking, and I've started to investigate that, but haven't approached anybody until after we get a decision from the board. I think, unless you have any questions, I think that will address what I have. I'm aware that the staff has a recommendation allowing us 60 days to resolve parking and come back to you.
There are a few other issues.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. So we'll get that.
Parking seems to
information.
be the main concern
Right.
from
Yeah,
staff.
well, I've worked with the city a number of times, and I've worked with the Public Works, and I'm aware of meeting their standards, and sometimes it's difficult, but we will do that. Yes.
This has been vacant for quite some time, and it said there was storage for chemicals. So you know what kind of chemicals they're talking about? And what level was that on?
I don't see any evidence of anything of that sort in there. I don't know what the building was used for.
Insurance company, right?
It's quite clean inside for the most part. The company behind, I don't know what all they have. I know they have a bunch of porta potties stored right along the fence, and I don't know what they do back there, but I don't know what use was in there. Obviously there were some offices, but there's some couple bigger open spaces on the upper floor and the lower floor. There's no evidence that I can tell of any chemicals, but I can't answer that.
Was there an environmental Was there an environmental study done on the property to purchase?
There has not been.
Okay, will one be required to purchase?
And well,
I would recommend that you do one.
the,
Not from us, but just,
okay. Well, the church already owns the property.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They,
And they didn't have to get
I'm
one?
not aware. Now, this church is affiliated with one of the same name in New Jersey. And there's an affiliation there. When did you purchase it? So June of '21, they purchased it. And I'll check with them and see what they've done there. But if we're required to do that, we would go ahead with it.
I
Okay,
just wondered, yeah.
yeah, okay.
are there any other questions?
Okay, thank
Very
you.
much.
Thank you.
At this time, we will start the open public meeting. Anyone to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone to speak in opposition of the petition? In?
Hello, my name is Rick Stauffer, and I own the property that directly butts up to the south side of the building. And some of the questions you guys had asked, I've lived there for about 10 years. There was a really bad fire in there, roughly 2 to 3 years ago, that they had the AEP there for a good 2 to 3 weeks, cleaning the inside. They had the full mask on, the gear, everything. It was a very extensive. From what I heard from the fire marshal, was there were some really bad chemicals in there that could have just leveled everything. But luckily, I seen the fire, called it in. They got there, and then once they realized the chemicals were in there, they got everybody out. So I don't know what's left over from there after the AEP and everything. But I do know structurally, there is a bunch of cracks in the side of the bricks and all of that. Again, I'm no engineer, but cracks down the 50, 60-year-old building probably isn't the best thing. But most important is in a couple years ago, I had my back property surveyed. And that building is roughly 14 inches on my property. I know there's not a whole lot we can do at this point, but just keep that in mind that there's more things at it. And then, of course, parking. I don't know if you guys have the packets that I turned in with the, nope. No.
Which one are you referring to?
Turned them into the office, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Pictures, parking issues, stuff like that.
No, we don't have that.
Oh, brought copies.
Show me on the map. Thank you for clarifying.
And,
How many cars do you think you can fit in there?
I don't know what the city guidelines is, but as far as handicap, this, that, but there's not very much room. I mean, maybe you can get 10 cars. in there. I don't know how big the church is going to be. I don't know if it's based off how many pews is in there.
Every 4 people, I think.
Parking spot? Okay, so,
One of the conditions that have been, that we would parking meet the city's possibility of leasing city-owned property adjacent to the church for parking. Parking around the building so that they would,
yeah, I mean, in the grass parking lot? Is that what you're referring to? Or,
Just for the church, dedicated to the church. They
Oh.
have to meet certain.
oh, that's directly out in front of it? Yeah, there's, I mean, you throw in a couple handicap spots and you're looking at maybe handicap parking spots. And Indiana was just all redone, that part, so it's narrower, so there's no on-street parking there. It's not an option, unfortunately. Today is a perfect example. There's snow, so the city comes by and plows, and they're taking up a parking spot or two.
So can you reiterate what you said about part of their building is on your land? Is that what you said?
Yes,
Just to be clear?
14 inches to be exact, which is very odd.
Yeah.
There was a crew out there that was doing some construction on the roof. I went over there, it seemed like at least once a week, picking up shingles that was just thrown. So, you know, that's not a good way to start off the relationship as a neighbor. But, you know, other than just discarding trash is acceptable. And then from the pictures I think you guys have now, I also run a business at the end of Elliston, and I drive big trucks with backhoes and equipment like on that, and you guys can see the pictures. It's very difficult to have cars out in the road and then parked on the other side to get through and be efficient.
was one of the city's concerns is parking in the city
Yeah.
right away.
Unfortunately, yes. Yep.
They're going to have to develop a parking plan that keeps.
You know, just another thing for me is just structurally. I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm no engineer, but the cracks down a 50, 60-year-old building probably isn't a good sign, you
They
know?
would have to follow code and everything. Us, but that's why they have their engine.
That's it for me. Yep, thank you.
We received, I say we, the client received a letter from a lawyer that was representing this gentleman, and that indicated that the building was 11 inches over the line. We haven't had a survey. I did measure out there, and I have, and without knowing exactly where the property line is, I didn't know for sure, but I would suspect that this building was over the line. Of course, these people did not build it. It was built whatever, and they were responsible for that. I did contact Bill Lavery, was the attorney. I contacted him, and he indicated to me that he was only hired to write that letter, that he wasn't necessarily representing that property owner. So I just contacted him to see, start the process of resolving that issue, which I don't know about the mortgage companies, but I assume if they get a loan, that it has to be resolved. And the client is intending to try to work with them to come up with some solution. If I were him and I owned it, I'd give a quick claim deed for it, but that's his issue. When somewhere along the line, there's an alley back there. It was 16.5 feet wide, and it was vacated. And half of the alley then went to that property and half to this property. And so the property description is 120 feet depth, but then there's 8.25 feet of the alley that belongs to the church. And obviously they went over, so he indicated some structural issues. I would say that he's wrong on that. We've looked at the building. There might be some cracks in masonry. That's normal. It's concrete block. They might need to be tuck pointed, but that's costs money, but it's not a big deal other than that. Other than that, the structure appears to be very good condition. It's got steel bar joists with a concrete floor up above, and then the lower floor is about 4.5 feet below grade. It had a roof deck on it, and somewhere along the line they put wood trusses up to create it, instead of having a flat roof, it's a sloped roof. There's some questions I don't know in there because I can't get into that space. Somewhere I will find out exactly what's up there, but I would say the structure is well built, and it's not an issue. To me, the issues are the parking, drainage, and I lost my thought. Parking, drainage, and having a good floor plan and layout, and solving the energy of the building, because there's no insulation in it. So, thank you.
Do we have anyone else? This time I'm going to close the public meeting and we'll go to the staff report.
The petitioner is requesting a use variance to allow the property to be used as a place of worship. The request comes to us, the request comes to us as a request from a local church looking to move and expand into a new space recently purchased. The property is located in an M1 district. The M1 district is designed to accommodate limited manufacturing uses having minimal impact on surrounding areas. The intent is to allow manufacturing development by reason of location and the availability of adequate transportation and infrastructure systems while protecting the surrounding uses from negative external effects. Some examples of M1 uses are equipment rental facilities, auction barns, boat building and repair, bicycle manufacture, warehousing, kennels, and animal hospitals. The development conditions for the district restrict business activity wholly to the inside of the building, shall offer all operations, servicing, and processing shall be conducted within completely enclosed buildings or structures, and no business shall create nuisance from noise, smoke, or odor. The requested place of worship for use in the M1, or the requested place of worship use for M1 use, therefore the need for the use variance is not, as it is not listed as a permitted use. Based on assessor records, the building was built around 1963 and is approximately 8,600 square feet over 2 levels, with about 4,300 square feet on the first floor and basement level. The building had been originally used as a labor union hall and then became an insurance agent office in the early 70s, with the most recent use as storage for chemicals. Based on the records from the Plan Commission, the property was rezoned from B2 business to M1 in 1970. Staff conducted a site visit of 1413 West Indiana with the building department and the property owner on February 6, 2025. The building has been neglected and the interior is in a state of disrepair. The applicant will need to work with the building department to bring the building up to current code and receive a CDR for all trade work. which is the construction design release. The upper floor contains a large room which will be used for worship space with a proposed wall dividing the room into 2 spaces. The basement lower level space contains a men's and women's bathrooms with a row of small rooms divided by a hallway from a large room intended to be used for a kitchen and fellowship hall and dining space. The congregation currently has services with 30 to 50 members at each service. Worship services are held Friday and Saturday and Sunday, ranging from morning to late afternoon. Some individuals are picked up from their homes by church van and delivered to the site for worship services. The main concern staff has with the request is for the parking. There are a mix of commercial and residential uses that surround the property. Parking demands could grow as the congregation expands, leading to a need for more available parking in close proximity. Currently, the existing parking meets the minimum required based on the current number of congregants. Currently, the only parking for the facility is perpendicular to the building along Elliston. After discussing this current site condition with the traffic engineer, the existing parking will need to be pushed back from the sidewalk and away from Indiana to increase visibility of pedestrians. The exact amount of parking needed for the space of the proposed use is unknown. Based on the zoning code, religious institutions are required to have 1 space per 4 seats in the main place of assembly plus other uses. Staff understands the budgetary constraints with establishing a new place of worship and not expending resources on extensive construction documents until the use has been heard before this body. Staff also realizes the need for parking and not being able to calculate a parking number without knowing the capacity of the facility. Therefore, staff is willing to offer a positive recommendation for the use with the condition that the petitioner come back before this body in the event a compliant parking program cannot be found. Staff has spoken with Public Works and Utilities about the parking as related to the use. The primary concern from Public Works was to ensure the right-of-way was maintained and the proper approvals are granted. It will be the requirement that the petitioner appear before the Board of Works for a revocable permit for the parking. That request will be to allow the parking within the city's right-of-way on the west side of the building. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the use variance based on the following findings of fact. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community because the proposed use is inconsistent with the purpose of the district and is less intense than the permitted use M1 uses. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner because the proposed use is in keeping with the purpose of M1 district intended to serve daily and convenient needs of the surrounding residential neighborhood. Number 3, the strict application of the terms of this ordinance will not constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought because any of the permitted uses could be established on the site. The request does comply with the comprehensive plan, which calls for the area to be developed with a mix of medium density and commercial uses. And number 5, the property was originally used as an assembly building when constructed, which will retain a similar use from the petitioner's request for the use variance of the space as a place of assembly for worship. Conditions. If the board chooses to approve the requested use variance, staff recommends the following conditions be placed upon the approval. Number 1, within 60 days and before any permits for additional work is granted, the petitioner and designer must meet with staff to calculate a seating capacity for the building that will determine the number of required parking spaces. Number 2, if the petitioner is unable to comply with the development standards for parking, the applicant will need to apply for a developmental variance for parking. No permits for additional work will be granted until an appearance before the board to determine the appropriate parking for the facility. And number 3, a request shall be submitted to the Board of Works to establish and allow access of city-owned right-of-way for off-street parking. There were 25 letters mailed, 2 returned in favor, 1 with the following comments. Churches offer a lot, or have a lot to offer our communities, and they don't live near, but they are in favor. I have my business near and also a rental property across the street. And there was 1 not in favor, and you have that material in front of you.
Much. At this time, we'll take questions for staff.
Eric, I do have a question for you. Who is in charge of making sure that the building is safe?
That would be
Building?
the building and fire.
Okay.
I move to approve use variance 25 UV02 and adopt the petitioner's documents and the presentation together with the staff's findings of fact as the board's findings of fact in the present petition and adopt all conditions listed in the staff.
Blackman. Davis.
Yes.
Mulvaney. Newbill.
Yes.
Avondra Rakoff.
Okay, at this time, our next order of business.
The petitioner is the Elkhart Park Foundation. The site location is 3419 East Bristol Street, which is Walker Park. The request is per section 430, a special exception for parks and playgrounds, to amend and update 98X06, which approved the site plan to allow for additional uses at Walker Park. The additional uses include construction of ADA-compliant restroom building with drinking fountain, a new pavilion, new playground area, additional native landscape plantings, additional memorial plantings, expanded parking, and recontour hillside for multi-purpose use.
Good evening, Jameson Zarnecki, Park Superintendent for the City of Elkhart. And
Chloe Klein, Secretary of the Elkhart Park Foundation Board.
Did you both sign in?
Excuse me.
all right, and I'll try and speak while I print here. But we appreciate you guys hearing our request. Let me just fill that. So, as Mr. Trotter stated, our hope is for the approval of the conceptual plan that was done. We had, let me back up. When I came in as superintendent 4 or 5 years ago now, I had heard a lot of feedback from the community wanting to see improvements at Walker Park. We reviewed a lot of the past master plans, and we've seen a lot of the comments from folks over the years on social media. So we worked with DLZ to propose a conceptual plan, and it was based off of the feedback that we heard. Last year, we held a series of public engagement meetings at the Pinewood Elementary School. We put out mailers, and we had an online survey to the community, which brought in 287 respondents. And of that, 87% were in favor of the restrooms. We heard wide positive feedback of what was planned out of the conceptual plan, which is, as Mr. Trotter stated, was the updated playground, the regrading of the field, enlarged gazebo, bathroom building, native plantings, landscaping, and really focusing in on the engagement and activation of the park and including the fitness zone. So we have the foundation with us because it's their property, and we have a lease agreement for the Parks Department, of course, for that. So we thought it was best to be up here together, but widely, we've done the engagement, we've heard the feedback. Overwhelmingly, we've heard from folks that this park is a community park for a lot of families and residents who come to utilize it, even though so out of the survey results that we found, 57% were within a half-mile distance that responded, 40% almost, or 35% almost of a quarter. So we know that there's a lot of people within the surrounding area who spoke in favor of this. We know that there's a lot of folks who have come to this community park over the years, and they've really wanted to see it improved upon. We've heard sentiments like it's a great park, but there's a lot to mow. And so we aim to change that. We've heard people say that at times they've gone there to walk and they've wanted to use the restroom, or they were there with their kids and they had to leave to go use the restroom. And you can imagine how frustrating that is with, a litter of kids that you're pulling around. So a lot of these improvements that we've put into this plan are based off of residential feedback, and that's what we're hoping to do. Any comments?
As a Elkhart native, born and raised, who does utilize the park, while I don't have children, I do see the need for having a restroom there. With the new playground also being ADA compliant, I think about children who might need access to a restroom more than those who are. But with it being ADA compliant, some of those children do need more readily accessible needs. And with the rooms being there, I think it would be a great benefit for those children to not only get to access a playground, but have needs on hand in case anything were to go awry, any accidents. But for people who use it for walking, it's also great so they don't have to leave early. They are also there, experience it like everyone else.
And I'll just note that we have been in contact with ADEC and the Logan Center. They're excited about the inclusive restroom building. It's planned to have adult changing stations. The playground equipment's inclusive. The fitness zone that we're putting in is geared towards group fitness and exercise. So a lot of the elements that we're doing are not just for the youth, but they're also for everyone. And so they wanted to share their sentiment that they're in favor of this as well, although they weren't able to attend tonight. Thank you.
Excuse me, questions from the board?
A couple questions.
Yeah, so I was trying to get that number from the Rangers, but it's our busiest park by far. And I want to say we've counted around 5,000 in a year. So that's just what the Rangers have seen, but I'm sure there's more. So.
My second question is, you utilize that park several times with my. How many tables are out there?
For the picnic tables, I don't know that off the top of my head. We put in a lot of new ones in the last year, and they
Previously,
follow
they weren't that many, right?
Okay, yeah, I want to say we probably have about 8 to 10 now.
15 years ago.
Okay, yep, there are more since then, yes.
All right.
Questions?
Yeah, some of the comments that you provided to us, I assume from neighbors, and they questioned the security of the restrooms. It looks like it's going to be open, closed by park rangers at night. Now, what time would that be when they close it?
Yeah, so the Rangers are supposed to close the restrooms starting at 9 p.m., and it generally takes about an hour to go around the community, so anywhere between 9 and 10, 10:30 we tell people. But it's worked out well. We've got restroom buildings throughout the parks, and it's, for the most part, it's done due diligence.
In the winter as well, 9 o'clock?
Yes, yeah, so these restrooms will be heated. They'll also have security lighting with them. There'll be motion censored inside. We'll also have security cameras in the future that we'll add to this, which will help not just the restroom building itself be protected, but also the park itself. So there's multiple additions to that that'll be improvements for security to the park as far as lighting and security cameras.
Considering putting a hill out there for the winter?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Are you considering putting a hill out there during the winter time for kids sliding or anything?
Oh, a hill. Yes, yes. So part of the conceptual plan is, depending on funding, we'd like to regrade the hill coming from the parking lot down and regrade that so that it's more of a sledding hill for folks. I say folks because I believe fully that there are adults that will utilize it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open in favor of the petition.
Let me write my name down here before I get asked. My name is Megan Irwin. I am the new Chief of Staff for the City of Elkhart. It's nice to meet you. I think this is my first appearance here at this board meeting. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you for your public service and your roles on the board. So as you all know, last year the mayor kicked off the Aspire Elkhart initiative, which is a broader initiative for investments in the city in public safety, infrastructure, neighborhoods, and quality of place. This Walker Park improvement plan and the restrooms is an example of what quality of place really means for Elkhart. So quality of place is a little bit of an abstract term for most residents, but the intent is that quality of place means to make Elkhart a more attractive place to live, work, and play, and is also an economic development strategy. It helps, there are amenities like this that enhance people's quality of place and ability to spend time after hours enjoying leisure, really helps attract people into our community. And we are really proud of the Elkhart Parks Department for all of the work and thoughtfulness that went into the design of the master plan and the Walker Park plan, and wanted to express support for this project.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Anyone else to speak excuse me, in favor of the petition?
Hello, I will sign in, I promise. Hello, my name is Kristen Small, and I come to speak in a couple different capacities. First, I am a member of the Park Foundation Board and would like to express my desire for this through that capacity, but more importantly, I am a resident of Elkhart and the city of Elkhart. But my favorite title is that I am the mother of 2 small children and a very frequent park user. So I am very much looking forward to these improvements happening at Walker Park. We all know that parks are the gems of cities. They give families, they give adults, they give everyone a chance to be able to really enjoy where they live and give them opportunities to enjoy the outdoors. And these improvements are only going to enhance that as time moves forward. And so I think that it really helps as an economic driver in bringing people to the area, but also allowing residents who are around that area to really enjoy where they live in different kinds of ways. By adding this equipment, adults will be able to really enjoy this park as well. And so parks aren't just for kids. I think we talk about that a lot, and that's the way it looks like. But I know that I tend to choose parks where I can enjoy that too when I have my 10-year-old. So I think that that's common for other parents probably as well. And I also understand that there's probably some hesitancy that goes into, or there's probably people who are hesitant about these improvements. But I think that's only natural. I guess what I'm asking is that we look past the fear of the unknown and look more towards the possibilities of what this park could bring, and really look forward to being able to enjoy this as a community together.
Any questions for Kristen?
Yeah, I have a question, Crystal.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. I know it feels very weird. I'm kind of shaky. I don't really know how this is at. Yeah.
Right.
It's like riding a bike.
I didn't ask Jamerson, but I can't remember if any of the equipment there is handicap accessible.
It will be inclusive. It'll be inclusive. I wanted to double check before I made that.
We have a lot of handicapped kids, and when you come to the parks, there's nothing for them.
Well, and beyond that, being able to have a fully inclusive restroom is going to really open doors for those who might not have been able to enjoy parks in the past, and be able to make Elkhart a destination for those families and for those individuals to enjoy.
Questions? Thank you. Okay, in favor? Are you in favor of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a lifetime resident of Elkhart, and that my grandparents originally owned that property, and in late 50s it was sold and has moved through various families, and now the Walkers have donated that land. But I'm very happy the use it has already been put to with the park. And I think what they're talking about will only improve it. I have walked there a few times. And I think the landscaping is especially needed. When you're walking, it's all out in the sun, and if there are more trees and so on, I think that would make it even nicer. So I support all the suggestions that they have put forth.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Okay.
Hi, Mandy Lazenby, resident. Thank you for hearing all of us. I speak in favor for these improvements. I will say those that spoke before me are a very important part of our park system. Thank goodness we've been able to bring that back. But, and our Parks Department and our Park Board, I serve on that. Those are important positions, but they're not, these improvements aren't what the people at the foundation are saying they want, or what I want, or what just the city of Elkhart wants. They've done the research. They've asked the people that matter, the people that will use the park. Because all of our parks are all of our parks. And these improvements will make it, again, more accessible to everyone, age, ability, and I think it's just going to enhance everything around it. I personally haven't been able to take advantage of this park, but I remember at an info session today, the lady before me, Ruth, from the Owls Club, she was telling her story of her family owning this property and then it passing along to the Walkers. So generationally, the support, I think, is key here. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mandy. Any questions for Mandy? All right. At this point, I will close. Are there any more? Is there anyone to speak in opposition of the petition?
Good evening. I'm already signed in. My name is Chris Haas. I live across the street from Walker Park. So my wife and I get to enjoy that as a neighbor. And I've got a few concerns about this potential project. I am interested in understanding, with the extended parking and the increased usage, how will the impact be to the local residents with increased traffic and with, a larger number of users. So there is a concern there. I do have a security concern around the restrooms. About 3 years ago, there was a porta-john put in at Walker Park. It found its way around the park a few places. One of them happened to be across the street from my house. So I got to see some of the shenanigans that would go on late at night after the park was long since closed. People would come in and out. I poked my head in there a few times, and while I don't feel that the conditions were a sign of the people maintaining it, it was certainly a sign of the people that were using it. It was filthy. Things were done in there that shouldn't be done, and I am concerned that if we put a permanent bathroom there at the park, how is that security going to be managed and maintained? I understand it's going to be locked at night, which should help, but I do have a concern that it will not be maintained properly. And then how will we fund that in the coming years? You look at some of the other parks, if you look at Island Park, if you look at Bicentennial Park, those restrooms don't look the greatest. So I'm concerned that how do we keep that part looking well? The other piece is, I think one of the values of Walker Park are its open space. That park is used for flag football, soccer matches. We see kids out there flying kites. We see RC cars. We even see RC planes. We see people playing golf, practicing their chip shot. Lots of dogs get walked. Lots of dogs get ran around in frisbees and so forth. And I think the value of that park is the fact that it is simple. It's easy to maintain. The park department hits it on Friday morning. They're in, they mow it, they pick up the trash, they're out. So I'm concerned that if we add more to that, there's more maintenance, there's more costs involved, and we start to complicate a park that right now, the beauty of it is the open space, which is what we don't have a lot of. I am curious about the playground equipment. New playground equipment was just put in this fall. So is this proposal to add more playground equipment to the facility? So the old playground equipment was torn down, and it was probably doubled or tripled in size this fall. So curious how that's going to work out. As far as the landscaping, I think that's just more maintenance and liable to get damaged, as well as there already is a sledding hill. There's kids that go over there, when we do have sledding, or snow rather, that are already sledding. The park is already serving that purpose, and we don't have to do any more to it. Yeah, those are my concerns and my questions, and I think things that need to be addressed.
Okay.
But
Thank you very much. Jameson, can you come up and address some of those questions for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I probably could have done a better job in my intro to describe some of that, and I think, have you seen the conceptual design itself by chance for the park?
It's been a while.
Okay. Well, it might help, and I'm happy to share with you after this, but so that you can see, because I think what you'll find is that, a lot of the things that he speaks about are right on par with what we're planning. So we are not putting in a forest. We want to maintain that field for the exact same reasons as he said. People play football there. Pinewood uses it. Parks uses it for our sports programs. Rocket Football League uses that. We know that the community loves that open space in that field. We're not saying to get rid of that. We want to enhance it. If you go out on that field and you run around, you can, but you're more likely to twist your ankle. And when you mow that, it goes like this because it's not well graded. So we just want to regrade that field and keep it a multi-purpose field, not put any, we don't want to put a pool in, we don't want to put a splash pad, we're not suggesting a soccer field or baseball, we just want to leave it the green grass that it is in the middle. But then for the walkers, runners, and the people utilizing the paths, to shade that in with the trees and, excuse me. So it's not, when we say landscaping and added, we don't mean to redo the whole thing and put a forest in there. We just want to capitalize on the strengths of it. Further, with the landscaping, it's planned to be vegetation that's native prairie grasses, pollinator habitat, low maintenance. It was tried there before about 10, 15 years ago, I'm told, and one of the failures was that there was not signage, so people complained that it was weeds, and also the maintenance team had, they have a fresh amount of seasonal folks, and they didn't get the memo that it's not weeds, so they mowed some of it down often. Our plan is to put up a border for that so that you can't mow it down. You'll know that it's a landscaped bed, but make sure that this is a prairie habitat or pollinator habitat that's low maintenance. The restrooms, he's absolutely right. Those were moved quite a few times. About 5 years ago, we put in the portable toilet due to a lot of requests from the residents using it. And so it was up top at the Bristol Street, but as you can imagine, it was a free, very wide open portable toilet that was in the parking lot. So it got a lot more usage than just the park users. So I moved it down to the parking lot, and then the neighbors had mentioned that it looks unsightly. So we moved it again, and then some other neighbors said, hey, we don't like that because it's in the area where it floods. So I said, okay. And so I moved it one more time, and I think we got it right. Where it is now is right across from the playground. We've not heard any negative feedback. People have appreciated it. They do complain that it's still gross as a portable toilet, but it was the best that we could offer for people to be able to utilize it. So it's not a perfect solution, but it gives people an opportunity who are needing a restroom desperately. The expanded parking, is something that we have planned in the future, not immediately. If we need it, we'll have an opportunity to add it. What I have found is that when we've had large events, such as the Rocket Football League we've seen there, and it's a nice day, people are already parking in the grass. They're not parking there. They're just parking illegally and awkwardly and unsafely. So it was our goal to expand it up by the library so that it is a safer spot for people to park. So that's where the expanded parking lot comes in. Finally, the playground equipment so we just completed the playground equipment in the fall, and we don't plan to do anything more unless I get some external funding from a private or grant that says we can add some toddler play around that feature. That was the other wide response that we had heard from the residents, is that they wanted some toddler play. But we couldn't do it all, so we put in inclusive play elements that were geared for 5 to 12-year-olds that also were safe enough for toddlers to play on. So you'll notice our spinner is down closer to the ground, and we put in a smaller net as opposed to a larger net play. So if you've got an adventurous 4 or 5-year-old like I do, they're ready for 7-year-old equipment anyways. So we tried to blend for what we could, but that would be the only additional playground equipment that we would put in. I think I've hit everything that were his concerns, but I share those concerns for all the same reasons.
Emerson, I have a question regarding the restroom that he was talking about. Would that be on the avenue where the parking is right now?
It'll be down catty corner to the playground, so off of Marguerite, more down at the bottom of the hill.
And would that be facing the park or facing where the residence is across the
So the
street?
front doors will face the pathway to the park. So the playground, it'll be across from there essentially, facing each other.
So the neighbors will still be able to see people going in and out of there?
Yes, and our plan is to put in more vegetation along the street with the memorial trees and whatnot so that it doesn't look like a bathroom building right there, but there's some vegetation that gives a park-like feel still to that.
Also, you're going to have video monitoring, external
Correct.
video, and then a motion sensor, I assume, inside to detect anybody when they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, so it's something that we've done in a few other places. We just put in cameras at the restroom building at High Dive Park that looks towards the dog park, and also the doors for the restrooms. Before we put those in, we had vandalism. We were unfortunately part of the TikTok trend that went out a few years ago. There was this viral thing for high schoolers to for some reason, it was a trend to vandalize public restrooms, and High Dive Park restroom was part of that. Now that we've put those cameras in as of last year, we haven't had a single problem, which is very great. So I think that that'll help us quite a bit. But the motion security lighting on the inside will tell us, motion sensors, lighting will tell us if somebody's in there. We have the rangers we have 2 full-time and 2 part-time currently that go around and patrol the parks. So they'll be able to lock those up at night. And then the security lighting that'll be dark sky approved on the exterior of the bathroom will also help light up to make sure that, should somebody be doing something, they can be seen on the camera.
Will there be any additional lighting in there since the park is closing at 9 o'clock and it gets dark now around 5:30, certain
Right.
time of the year?
So the parks are open until 11 p.m. at night, and then they're closed. So there is some lighting that's there now. So I don't think we'll put additional. If we were to do anything with the lighting there in the future, it'll be that we're changing it to dark sky lids so that it lights the ground but not the sky.
Emerson, how often is the bathroom cleaned, is your proposal?
So Buildings and Grounds is the central services department for the city, and they are in charge of maintaining our parks. I believe they clean at least weekly unless there's an issue, and they go out and check that periodically. So our rangers are supposed to be patrolling, and when they patrol, they look in the restrooms and they'll notify us if there's any issues. If there's maintenance issues or concerns, people can use the My Elkhart 311, or they can call the Parks Department, and we'll be sure to have the signage in there to say, if this restroom is not up to your standards, please call us so that we can get out there.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Now close the public meeting and
The petitioner is requesting to amend and update 98X06, which approved the original site plan for Walker Park to allow for additional uses. The additional uses include construction of an ADA-compliant restroom building with drinking fountain, new pavilion, new playground area, additional landscape plantings, additional memorial tree plantings, expanded parking, and recontour hillside for multi-purpose use. The Parks Department is updating the master plan for Walker Park. Parks has undertaken, along with assistance from consulting from DLZ, a revised plan that expands the amenities at the park. Part of the update was seeking feedback from the community through a series of public meetings and the creation of an online survey. The outcome of this feedback was a park that provided for more inclusive activities as well as a restroom. Since being established some 30 years ago, Walker Park has become the most utilized park in the city. As an essential element of the Mayor's Aspire initiative that seeks to enhance the vibrancy and usage of our parks and green spaces, Walker Park is used for group fitness and recreational activities for both the surrounding neighborhoods and Pinewood Elementary across the street. The park currently has a walking fitness trail, playground, and parking on both Bristol Street and Marguerite Avenue. In addition to the restroom building, over the next 5 years, plans call for the new pavilion, new playground area, pollinator gardens, additional parking to both lots, and a toddler play area. The restroom building was submitted for and reviewed by the Technical Review Committee and has been approved pending the special exception. The building will have ADA-compliant restrooms for men and women, a family restroom with changing stations, some storage for park programming, and a drinking fountain with water bottle filling capability. The building will have security cameras, internal motion sensors, and will be heated for year-round use. It will be opened in the morning by buildings and ground staff and closed by park rangers who will patrol the park. Staff recommends approval of this special exception. Number one, are based on the following findings of fact. Number one, the special exception is so defined, located, and proposed to be operated that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. The Walker Park improvements are being designed to add amenities to make this park a premier park for the city of Elkhart. The improvements to the playground, parking, additional landscape plantings, along with recontoured multi-purpose hill area, and restroom will allow for future growth and attendance to increase usage. The restroom building will have security, be opened and closed at the beginning and end of each day by city staff or park rangers, and also be monitored at regular intervals by park rangers. Number two, the special exception will not reduce the values of other properties in its immediate vicinity because the additional amenities proposed will add to the quality of place for Walker Park and enhance the city's park system. The park is a part of the Mayor's Aspire initiative to enhance the vibrancy and increase the usage of the city's park and green spaces. The structure is part of the updated master plan that will include a new playground, gazebo, and multi-use field. Number three, the special exception shall conform to the regulations of the zoning district to which it is to be located because it will not generate adverse effects on adjacent properties in the form of noise, smoke, or odor. The proposed amenities will add to the vibrancy of the neighborhood and allow for more programming for the Parks Department. The restroom building will be built to conform to all necessary building construction requirements and have been submitted for technical review and addressed all comments raised during the review. There were 53 letters mailed, 2 returned in favor, 1 with the following comments. Thanks very much for asking. Walker Park is looking excellent with your ongoing hard work. Very much appreciated. Those not in favor with the comments. The playground was already redone last fall. Trees were taken down for safety of children. When Walker Park first came to be, there were drug use and a suicide. I always have opposed bathrooms. Bathrooms can be a place where predators can be hiding. I vote to leave it the same, just maintain what you have. I do not want a basketball court, splash pad, etc. at this park. Pinewood is across the street and can provide many of the extra items. I do not want the parking. lot to be expanded. This is a neighborhood with children. This should remain the same small park. Expanding and adding only invites more people, more issues, maybe adding a walking bridge from the park to Pinewood. That way people can safely cross both places and our children who walk to school are safe. Bristol Street is not safe to cross. Many people speed and run the light, even when the crossing guard is there. Fix that problem. And finally, I'll summarize. It will raise our property taxes. They're high enough. No restrooms, no pavilions, no extra parking. Walker Park is for the north of Elkhart residents. The park is just fine the way it is. There are 2 other parks people can go to, but they approve of the planting the memorial trees.
Call for the motion.
Motion to approve.
Comes to the Board of Zoning Appeals with a do pass recommendation from the Plan Commission. I apologize.
All right, I move to approve 25X01 and adopt the petitioner's documents and presentation together with the staff's finding of fact as the board's finding of fact in the present petition.
Call for the roll call.
Mulvaney.
Yes.
Davis. Blackman. Newbill.
Yes.
Wondrikoff.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jameson, for this. The presentation that you gave us was very thorough and very good. We really appreciate that. At time, are there any staff items?
Staff member? Read them out in public here. Now, obviously, there was a height requirement as part of the application, at least as tall as Eric.
Apparently there was. I'd like to introduce Kyle Pedersen. I'm sorry.
Eric, speak into the microphone, please.
I apologize. I should know better. I'd like to introduce our new planner, Kyle Pedersen. He comes to us. He's been here about a week and a half from Michigan City. He's been a great addition to the team so far, and I'm more than excited to have him join our team. And I'll let him introduce himself.
Good evening, board. So kind of how Eric said, I previously was working in Michigan City for about a year and a half in a similar role, but prior to that, I went to school at Ball State University, and then I'm originally from St. Louis.
Oh, okay, very good.
Welcome, thank you.
Yes, very much. Welcome, thanks so much. All right. Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Okay, very good. So moved, seconded. All those in favor? No, do we have to vote on that?
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
I believe that is unanimous.
Motion to adjourn is always,
Yeah, yeah.